Hi, Jasy.
Hi, Larissa. Welcome to the Bear
Thanks for
Collective.
having me.
Yeah, as though you're not part of the podcast every time, right? From creation.
Having this version of me today showed up.
Who's she?
She's in her workhorse era, so she's here. She's working.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I almost feel like today my brain can't be here, but I'm bringing my energy back into my body as we
Yeah,
speak.
yeah. Grounding on the couch.
Yeah.
Grounding on the couch.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And I think that's an interesting thing because we've had this chat just offline about we're kind of both in this workhorse era. Some parts chosen, some parts not chosen.
Mm.
But you really do need to bring back that mindfulness to
Yeah.
take that space for yourself and ground in, even if it's only for 5 minutes or so before running to the next thing or doing the next thing.
Yeah, especially if you want to show up authentically in that thing that you're choosing to do in that moment. And this is definitely one of those things where we want to show up authentically, and so it's important to kind of ground into it before we get started. What people can't see is I'm like holding a crystal and I'm not this big crystal person. It's something I've only just I just had this urge to buy one, and yeah, I've got it with me.
Show it to the people, for the people who are watching.
It's Angelite. I hope I'm saying that right. I recently got told I can channel angels, and so this is here to help me channel my angels.
Yeah. And I think something that we had brought up before when I'd actually suggested like grounding in by doing something like that was that the weight of it.
Yes.
The weight
having
of
that
it
heaviness.
Really, yeah, really helps you like anchor in. Yeah, versus just like pinching your finger or something. Not that that doesn't work if you're in an interview or something like that. I used to do that trick to like ground in, but
yes.
Yeah. How's it going for you?
It's going well so far.
Yeah.
I'm still a bit spacey, but I'm sure once we dive into it I'll be there. Yeah. I can feel it in the palm of my hand, and that means I'm here on the couch. So
and
it's
just
working.
Before we jump into today's topic, I want to just kind of go on a little bit of a tangent with this one. And something that I'm working through real time, which I think you'll be able to relate to, is when you're in that season of workhorse era, which, like I said, for me, I love, it excites me, but you can often feel when you're going from one thing to the next that you're literally just going from one thing to the next. And there's a pressure in the sense of just not taking that space. So like really encourage people, whoever's in that season, so that you don't burn out before you go from that one thing to the next. Just literally have 1 minute where you ground into your body, like hand on heart, breathing in, closing your eyes, and be intentional. Think about how you want to show up, or just have a slight visual meditation of how that day or how that meeting or how that next hour is going to look, to really keep you in presence. And again, keep you from burning out and just, spacing out and going unconscious in those situations.
And like that's such a good tool, and it really, a word you use there that has been on my mind.
Oh, I'm tapping it.
Is presence.
Yeah.
And I know there'll be so many people out there who go from like work to mum to chef to this to that, and these little pause moments and grounding into whatever it is, and your intentions in whatever you're about to do are so important, especially if you're someone who really values and cares about being present, like with your kids, for example. It's something I've been working on with my son, because, I've always got work to do, running a business and studying and all of the things. So it's really important to be present with your family, with your kids, when you have the energy to, which again, like you will have less capacity for that if you're burnt out, as you say. So it's very, very important to just be having these little micro moments to yourself.
And you burn out because you're running unconsciously.
Yes.
And you're just doing, and not bringing it back into the present. And it doesn't need to be this big thing. Like I said, just anchor into 1 minute.
Yeah.
And that is emotionally regulating yourself when you start going into what's the intention of how I want to show up, the minute I step through that door, or the minute I get out of this car door, or the minute my kids get in the car, how is it that I want to show up and be with them?
Yeah.
And then anchor just into that next hour,
Yeah.
just into that next half an hour, just into that transport from this place to that place, or that meeting.
Yeah. So we're anchoring in. And what are we anchoring into today?
Something that's kind of come up in my circle is around friendship expectations, or unmet or unsaid friendship expectations. So just where we're in, if you're in a dynamic where, and it can relate to any relationship really, whether it be a workplace or in an intimate relationship or even family, where you're going home and you're by yourself and you have stories playing in your head about kind of anything really to do with that relationship, whether it be a story around they should know that I am XYZ, or they should know that I do XYZ, or how could they treat me like that, or any of those kinds of signs where you're ruminating. There is a conversation that hasn't been had.
It even like this even kind of ties into where we started for me, interestingly, because I went through this era of my life where like work was so intensely busy, and like even just group chats pinging at me throughout the 9 to 5 or the 8 to 6 or whatever it was for me at that time. I would ruminate on like, don't they know how busy I am? And then I obviously sat with that and was like, oh, hey, hey you. And I actually, I turned off the notifications and things like that. And I still have that off. That actually just works so much better for me.
Yeah.
Because then I can kind of go to it when I choose to. I hate a red bubble. For anybody out there who knows the pain of a red bubble on the phone, I feel you. And so I would go into it just to get rid of the red bubble. And then that's when this story would play out in my head. So
that's so interesting.
Yes. And I've spoken to other friends, especially it actually has been a couple of my really like career driven friends who do prioritize that above other things and want to do that, of course. And they felt the same way. And we actually talked about like, oh, we never really have this conversation with everybody else of like, I'm not going to respond to things between those times, or like, I sat with it. It's boundaries. And I sat with it and I said, do I ask these people not to contact me in those hours? And I was like, actually, no, because that's really not on them. That's really on me. It's my reactivity. And it's the fact that, also in the background, I've probably put too many things on my plate, which, sometimes you can't control, but in some aspects you certainly can. And that's when I decided like, no, you know what, this is on me to set like I'm gonna call it like a technology boundary and have that notification silenced to give me the autonomy to go in and have a look when I'm ready.
Yeah, 100%. I have my phone essentially 24/7 on Do Not Disturb.
Yeah, love it.
And the WhatsApp group chats, even there's some people through text messages that just spam too much. They are muted.
Yeah.
And that is because, and this is so, I think, valuable, who's running your day? Are you running your day? Or is somebody else? Or is it being led by your day, being led by a device?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's also, I think it comes back down to what we're articulating here is responsibility. It's actually looking at whose responsibility is it. And when you're having those kind of thoughts exactly as you were having there, it is, you're kind of going, do I communicate to them not to respond to me? Or do I just set I take the responsibility to put the mute on, and it's also my responsibility to take intentional time to then respond, to maintain those connections if they're of value to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I saw one friend, she did this amazingly. She ran a health practice. So, and this was before I owned mine, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. Look at how she's doing this. She would leave responding to all of her friends until the weekend when she actually like really wanted to be intentional and had time for it. And I watched her sit on that phone for so long responding to people one morning, but that's what worked for her. And I thought, oh, how amazing. Like she's actually sat and thought what works for me. I don't know if she'd communicated that to people, which is a lot about what we're talking about today. But either way, you know, after a time, your friends do kind of see, well, this is the pattern.
Yeah.
But then you also want to make sure, I think, that you've had that conversation as well. And not to guard their feelings and stop them feeling upset with you, but just to be really open and genuine and let them know, like, I'll still be thinking of you. Like, I obviously still care about you. However, these are my limits around it.
Yeah. But also, this is what I'm working on, and this is my big dream. And I, at this season or this era of my life, I don't have the capacity for X, Y, Z. What I do have capacity for is this. I think we've got to be careful with friendships as well, because you can end up isolating yourself and making yourself feel very alone if you go, this is what I'm not available for. You've also got to communicate what you are available for. And then you've also got to bring, if you're choosing to put those kinds of boundaries in, you've got to choose also to bring conscious connection to still nurture your friendships. Otherwise you will isolate yourself. And then that social bucket doesn't get filled, which you need in life. Sure. Everyone's needs vary on it, but you still need it. It's one of the pillars of mental health in general. And it actually just flagged for me in the era of 2020. That time in life.
Are we thinking lockdown time?
Yes. That's probably a better word that doesn't get banned by YouTube or Spotify.
As I said it, I was like, does it? I don't know.
We're going to find out. There was something that happened in my life, and I decided what I needed for myself was a version of like a silent retreat. So I end up messaging friends, and I said for the next, like, I think it was like 2 weeks.
I think it was longer, because I did receive this message. It was either 4 or 6 weeks. I can't recall, but I feel like it was the month.
It was a month.
Yeah.
I just can't remember whether I initially said 2 weeks or whether I initially said a month, but regardless, that's semantics. But where I messaged and I said, look, I'm just going to go into this like silent retreat. I really need to sit with myself, and there's some patterns here that I really want to break, and the only way to do that for me is just going to go really hardcore, really gnarly, and just confront it all and sit in everything that comes up and process. And what it means is that I'm not going to be sitting on my phone. I don't actually want to take phone calls at this time. You can text and check in, and I'll respond when I can. If you want to check in that I'm alive, then that's good. You know, and I will respond at some point. But again, I'm digital detox as well for that that month as well. Apart from just those tiny like check-ins, which was, I think maybe like once every like 2 days, maybe I'd spend 20 minutes, literally 20 minutes or less on the phone, just replying to some people or giving a little bit of an update. And then that was it. I was head in journal, head in books, like doing all the somatic work, all the things.
And how good that you actually, like, how healthy did it feel for you letting people know, like setting that expectation, taking responsibility for the fact that you were going to be silent, and that like people will have expectations.
And interestingly, I communicated that with people who I knew would communicate with me.
Right. That is an interesting element.
And I didn't communicate with people because a pattern that I noticed was I felt in my friendship dynamics that I was the one that was always reaching out. So I'm always connecting, checking in on people, loving on people. And in some of my relationships, that wasn't happening back. So it was also an interesting space to see if I wasn't doing that for a month, how many people would notice. And it wasn't like again, for an ego stroke, it was a kind of, this is actually a shedding of some of these relationships that are not actually bringing value or not actually really deeply connected. They're maybe a bit more surface level, and that's totally okay. They've served a purpose. But this was also going to be a shedding time of relationships that were no longer serving me and where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
So I thought, yeah, I felt really good after that.
Oh, I bet.
Mm.
I bet. I'd love to go on a little silent hiatus somewhere
I would
for.
love a digital detox.
Yeah, yes. I recently heard, like literally this week, actually, as you say this, of someone's mum who went and did this. She did it in Italy, so go her.
Mm.
But she'd always wanted to do like just, she's very available mum to her family. And yeah, really just went and took that time for herself and realized how helpful and useful and grounding it was for her, and is now looking at ways to implement that in her life back here. And so it's also, it's really lovely to think that you can do really hardcore versions like our friend Larissa here, but you can also bring that back and make it mold in again with life, as it often sometimes has to be,
Yeah.
because we have to work.
Yeah. Yeah. I've done that. I mean, I've done that a lot with travel. As well. Like
Yes,
I've
yes.
decided not to get the SIM card and just to live off the Wi-Fi and be really present and be off tech. And that's always been life-changing.
And unavailable. I love being unavailable. I don't take my phone with me out on weekends with my family. I try not to have my phone around my child during the day, actually. We've talked about that before. But yeah, I just generally don't take it with me, and I'm unavailable like Saturday and Sundays. I have to have it on me on work days. But even then, I'm checking it intermittently and just getting back to what I have to get back to in that day that's urgent and prioritizing.
Yeah.
So it's lovely to think about this. And do you know, this kind of leads into something else. Like, I was one of the later, in one of my very close group of friends, I was one of the later to have a child. And kind of watching them all have children, which was really beautiful, but then also noticing like they would pull away on social like connection because obviously there's so many other things that you're doing. And like, interestingly, you kind of, as the person not having the child yet, I had these expectations of, oh, our friendship will stay the same. Like, in fact, it'll be beautiful because I'll get to like nurture, them and their baby and, really be there and be part of that. And in most cases, that doesn't happen. You're sitting there, your friends are really busy. They do tend to get closer to the other friends who have kids, and they're all off work and they can socialize together. And, during that Monday to Friday period, and then on Sundays, they're with their like partner who's also been at work. You can really see how the dynamics change. And you're sitting there on the other side, like, oh, like we're not talking as much anymore. And I miss them. Like, I miss them dearly. And I also think, as like, now that I'm a mum, I've pulled away in that same exact way, and it's been such an interesting thing to watch myself go through of, oh, well, I am just not available to get back to people. Most of my friends have kids, so they're in the same boat, but now I'm kind of sitting here thinking, oh, like, is it my responsibility in this circumstance to tell people, like, I have a kid, I won't be able to get back to you as quickly as I did before I had a child because I don't have my phone on me? Like, and I'm actually asking this question because I'm interested to hear your perspective as someone like who doesn't have a child yet. Or is that kind of a known?
No, I think it needs to be communicated. I think it needs to be a conversation, because exactly what you were saying, you felt that as someone who didn't have kids before having kids.
Yeah.
You didn't understand it at a certain level. Whilst I've grown up around kids through like having my mum being one of 7 and having therefore all the partners and all the kids and all the streamline there, I've grown up around it and witnessed a lot of that. So I'm very conscious and aware of that. Whereas there are other people who haven't come from that dynamic. So I don't think we can put that responsibility
they
on
wouldn't
them.
know.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think it's also, this kind of also goes into like a conversation around friendship breakups. It depends on if you have that person who's still reaching out and wanting connection. Yeah. Do you want to nurture that? Are you also maybe narrowing yourself from, oh, I'm only this type of friendship person who has a family and kids where I can make it like this? Or are you limiting yourself by not still having that friend or friends that bring a different aspect that still keep, in a sense, like your individuality outside of being a family. You know, what parts of you get to be expressed when you're within that dynamic
Yeah.
versus not.
Yeah.
But it is on, yeah, I don't think you can, that would be mind reading or expecting them to mind read you.
To understand. Yeah. Almost like well, I'm really busy. Don't they know I'm busy? Like it's almost the same thing.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot more tangible. There's obviously this being
Yeah. Yeah.
that has entered the dynamic.
Yeah.
However, yeah, definitely.
And that
definitely cool to
be,
say out loud.
Yeah, I think that person, I don't know them, obviously, who you're speaking about.
Oh, I'm just generalizing.
Okay.
There's no specific person. Okay. I'm 100% generalizing.
Okay.
Yeah. More for the people.
Yeah, because that person, so for me, I'm a very family nurturing, love kids, and again, have grown up all around it. So I've always been invited into those friendships as well, because I will get down on my hands and knees and play with the kid, whereas there are other people out there who don't do that. So it makes the dynamic really hard to integrate that,
really does.
That kind of person without a child into the dynamic of friendship there.
Yeah.
But I think it also, it goes, it's definitely a self-responsibility thing. And I had an interesting dynamic come up this week where I'd been hanging out with somebody and we were just having banter in conversation and I didn't think anything of it. And I got this text message later on saying, hey, they wanted to kind of apologize for the banter, thinking that there might have been something that had upset me. And I was like, this didn't even cross my mind. I just took it as banter, but within themselves, they were obviously feeling self-doubt, a bit of guilt, a bit of that new kind of dynamic of, did I go too far in saying something? And I said to this person, from my side, that's not even a thought. They'd obviously been ruminating on it. It's great that they brought it up. For me, if I had an issue with something inside a friendship, it's my responsibility to bring that up.
Yes.
If I'm walking away from any relationship or friendship where I'm thinking about something over and over again,
yes,
then it's my responsibility to kind of say, hey, this is the story I'm telling myself. Brene Brown, we've talked about it before on the podcast. She has a really great TED Talk on shame and vulnerability. Just do a YouTube search on it. It's amazing. And you just start with the line, the story I'm telling myself is, and, open up and have that conversation and allow the person to respond. And they're either going to put you at ease or it's going to, again, crack the relationship open and take it to a deeper level of understanding that person.
And and if you are someone who is going home and thinking, have I upset someone, and not said and that person hasn't said anything to me, chances are you are someone who gets upset by people and doesn't say anything and doesn't let that person know. Because I know part of your response would have been, no, I would have told you if something had upset me. I would have let you know. And I know you would have let them know.
But to me, that is being, we all talk about being correct.
Yeah.
We talk about, I'm an honest person.
Yeah. Yeah.
We talk about being an honest person, but how many times have you been upset and not said anything?
Yeah.
You're not actually an honest person.
Yeah. And so as someone who goes home and thinks about this, I also really encourage you to look at, where am I getting upset and not expressing that, or setting a boundary, or telling a friend what I need, because it's there. It's right on there for you. And just let your friend know, hey, I am thinking about this. This is the story I'm telling myself. And who knows what they're going to say back. You might be afraid of the consequence of that conversation, but more often than not, I would guarantee that because you're being vulnerable and coming from a really loving, caring place, they are going to just ease that fear that you've got.
And I think one of the perfect examples that you said today, when putting a boundary in, the boundary is yours, not the other person's. You're not saying, I need you to do this, this, and this. It's I'm going to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I'm going to mute the group chat. I'm only going to respond on weekends. It's what you are doing.
Yes.
It's your boundary. Own your boundary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We love our boundaries.
Yeah. They make for a healthy life and healthy relationships.
Yes. I've been thinking about them today in terms of like, I believe there's maybe a spectrum with boundaries, like where we can take it too far.
Absolutely.
Like everything. And I was thinking about this today and I was like, I wonder where that boundary is for me. And this is only, I'm not even going to go into it because it's just something that I've recently started pondering. Like, what would be my too far?
Next episode.
Exactly. We are going to pause this here and bring that in at the next one.
Yes.
Because it's a hot topic. Like it's like everything. You can take it too far. You can push it to the limit and it can become like, I'm going to use the word selfish and I don't mean that in a negative way, but it can become, more on that selfish, in inverted commas, end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
So let's
Say
come
no
back.
more. Say no
And
more.
tune
Sit
in
those
next week.
Let's go to the next episode.
Thank you for listening, watching, and subscribing.
We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.